After signing the #1 cornerback in America in last year's recruiting cycle in Ellis Robinson, along with the #1 safety in the country in KJ Bolden, the #7 cornerback DeMello Jones, and 4-star Andre Evans, it's easy to see why Georgia's maybe struggling a little bit right now on the recruiting trail as it relates to defensive back recruiting. They're going after a lot of the top guys, but a lot of the top guys right now are trending elsewhere. So the secondary, the defensive backs, that's an area right now where I think Georgia's got to step it up a little bit. And, I get it. These kids nowadays, especially the 5-stars, the high 4-stars, they want to play early and they want to get paid early. And I'm telling you right now, it wasn't cheap to keep Ellis Robinson away from Miami. And it wasn't cheap to make sure they got KJ Bolden on board, who, after signing with Georgia, said that he actually turned down bigger NIL offers to sign with Georgia. DeMello Jones is an absolute baller that I think has the potential to be a lot better than the average Georgia fan thinks. But in this video, I'm going to talk about defensive back recruiting, where they sit with some of their top guys, and who are some guys that you may not know about that you probably should know about, and other guys who I could possibly see signing with Georgia in this current 2025 recruiting class. So let's dig into it, right? Dig into it. But first, collegebronze.com. Listen, Father's Day is next Sunday. You've got a week to get your Bulldog. Get it today so you get it on time. Don't miss out on the discount, okay? Promo code DOGPOST, DAWGPOST. This is the best looking, most detailed Bulldog statue on the market. And you can get all the information in the description below in this video. You don't have to go anywhere. It's all right here in front of you. Boom. Best Father's Day gift on the market. Get it right now. It's made in Roswell, Georgia, okay? Get it today so you'll have it by Father's Day. You will win Father's Day. Your dad, your grandfather, your uncle, your son, whoever. They're going to absolutely love this bad boy. We do. Get yours today. Okay, let's talk about a guy that's currently on campus in Athens on an official visit. Actually, by the time you're watching this, he's probably leaving. But he's the #2 cornerback prospect in the country, #6 overall. Talk about DJ Pickett, long, athletic kid from the Sunshine State. He's the #2 cornerback, #6 overall. I've been told it's going well, but I still think Georgia has plenty of ground to make up here. I think LSU's probably still the team that I would pick for him right now. Miami, Florida, a lot of schools in the mix. This is a kid who should be getting a lot of NIL opportunities coming his way. He's got length, he's got ball skills. He's in Athens right now. Maybe Georgia, with a successful visit, can put themselves firmly in the mix. But right now, I don't see DJ Pickett signing with Georgia when the time comes. Dijon Lee, #5 cornerback prospect in the country. I was told for a long, long time that Georgia was going to be in the mix the entire way. Looks like the entire way is coming soon. He appears to be a strong Alabama lean right now. I think he makes a commitment late June. So that's coming up. I would be very surprised. From what I'm hearing right now, what I've heard probably the past week plus, is that Alabama is the team clearly in front for him. So this might be the last time I mentioned Dijon Lee, but he was a guy that was really high on Georgia and liked them a lot. And I was told that they were in the top 2 with Alabama. Right now, it seems like, Alabama has, a sizable lead for him right now. Chuck McDonald, 4-star from Modern Day. He was another guy Georgia offered around Christmas. He told me that Dante Williams being at Georgia was a big deal to him. He was in town March 30th. He's committed to Alabama. Darius Dixon, another 4-star cornerback from Modern Day. Doesn't look like he's leaning Georgia's way, but he was in Athens on March 30th. So, the new defensive backs coach, Dante Williams, that Georgia got from USC, he's got a lot of West Coast ties, but it doesn't look like it's going to help Georgia a lot this cycle. It could next cycle, but I'll tell you what, Alabama is going to Modern Day, and they recruit that school as well as anyone. They do a great job in California, and it doesn't look like Georgia's going to get one of those top guys from the West Coast. Maybe I'm wrong. Chris Ewald is a kid from South Florida. He's going to take his official visit later this month. I think Miami's leading for him. But a guy to keep an eye on that Georgia fans may not know a lot about, Jameer Joseph from New Jersey, Georgia, Penn State, Stanford, South Carolina, I believe are his top 4. Really good player, but he's the #22 overall cornerback. This recruiting class is loaded with cornerbacks. And I know when these guys are looking at Georgia's way, they're asking about NIL, they're asking about playing time, but Tell you what, Georgia used a lot of those funds to make sure they got the number one cornerback in Ellis Williams on board from South Florida. It wasn't easy to hold on to him. KJ Bolden at safety. We're going to talk about some safeties in a second, but it's clear why Georgia's having a little bit of a hard time, because I don't see a lot of these guys who they signed in this 25 class to play a lot early on. But depending on who they get, these guys might be developed a little early. But Jameer Joseph is a guy who I could see Georgia landing. Andrew Purcell is a guy they recently offered. He's an impressive cornerback on the rise from Alabama. He's a guy to keep an eye on. I think he'll take an official visit later this month. I don't have an exact date. Probably should. I thought I had him in my notes. I'm looking at them right here. They're not in there. But he's a recent offer that the Georgia staff, I think, this guy's climbing Georgia's board. I think they're all climbing Georgia's board because the guys at the top of their board aren't really trending their way. But they've got to figure out something. There's some in-state cornerbacks, one from Sprayberry to keep an eye on, one from Sandy Creek to keep an eye on. For the latest on those guys, make sure you head over to Dog Post. But a couple out-of-state cornerbacks to know: Jameer Joseph, and Andrew Purcell from Alabama. But other than that, they might have to keep finding some guys at cornerback. But again, it's okay because they signed three of the best in the country: Ellis Robinson, DeMello Jones, Andre Evans, in last year's recruiting cycle. So I get it. At safety, Trey McNutt is a 5-star who was in town for the scavenger hunt weekend in late May. I don't think he's going to Georgia. He might take an official visit, but would surprise me if he did not end up at Ohio State. Tay Harris is a really good defensive back that they had committed, in-state guy from Cedartown. He decommitted, committed to Clemson. Anquan Fagans from Thompson, Alabama. He's got Georgia in his top 4. He's got a commitment date, I think, for late July, but I think Auburn's the team trending there. Eric Winters, another kid from South Alabama, Enterprise High School. I think he's an Auburn lean, but he was in town this past weekend for an official visit. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. I'm going to try to reach out to him and his camp and sources there to see if Georgia made up some ground. But Auburn's doing a really good job on the recruiting show right now. Hugh Freeze is a recruiter. I don't know if he's still up to his same ways. I don't know if he's recruiting the same way he was at Ole Miss, which was illegal. Now it's kind of, perfectly legal to use NIL funds to try to persuade these top prospects to come on board. There's a lot of gray area, and so they've got to fix how NIL is. But that's a whole nother video. But Auburn is using NIL and those funds as well as anyone. They have to. Auburn has to. They can't use the development pitch to get these 5-stars. They have to say, hey, you can play early and, we'll throw you whatever NIL money we can, right? That's the only way they're going to get to Georgia and Alabama's level and start beating them consistently. And now things are tougher with Oklahoma and Texas on board. They still have to fight off LSU and Ole Miss. I mean, Auburn's a tough job. They've got a tough schedule, and they need these 5-stars, and they can't persuade these 5-stars based on development and winning championships. So you got to recruit another way, and they're doing that. But so a couple guys, or one guy at least, I do think is trending Georgia's way is Lagonza Hayward, small-town kid from Lyons, Georgia, Toombs County. I think Georgia's taking the lead for him over Tennessee. He's a guy who makes a lot of plays, could play receiver, plays safety, special teams. He's electric with the ball, but he's got a long, muscular frame, really good athlete that I think Georgia's starting to push for more and more. I think they could absolutely land him. He's one of the top safeties in the country. And Jonte Gilbert out of Douglas County in Atlanta, that's a guy that I thought Georgia was pushing a lot harder for in the beginning. I think other schools may be pushing harder for him right now than Georgia is, but he was in Athens. Again, by the time you're watching this, he's probably left, but he was in Athens for an official visit this past weekend. If Georgia turns up the heat on him and starts to make him more of a priority than he once was, I think he could absolutely land at Georgia. But right now, I think South Carolina, Auburn, Florida, those type of teams are pushing for him a little more. But other than that, we'll see if some new offers go out. But right now, it doesn't look like they are going to be signing a 5-star class in the secondary like they did in the last cycle. And again, I think Ellis Robinson could be a multi-year starter. I think KJ Bolden could be a multi-year starter. Wouldn't surprise me at all if DeMello Jones plays, sees the field some this year and becomes a starter down the road. So they've got plenty of depth and a lot of talent in the secondary, young, hungry talent. So Now, even though the 2025 class is loaded across the country with talented defensive backs, Ohio State has two of the very best. Alabama's going to sign a really impressive defensive back class. And it doesn't look like Georgia's going to sign that type of class in the secondary that those guys are. But again, there's obvious reasons for it. They can't use the same type of NIL funds that they used in the last class. And again, when you bring in extremely talented five-star guys in the secondary, folks in the next class or prospects in the following class seem like, well, you know, how early am I going to see the field with all those guys just 1 year ahead of me, in front of me, already making an impact, right? But, you know, Ohio State does it every year. Alabama does a great job of recruiting defensive backs every single year. And most of the time, Georgia does too. But I'm not sure this particular class is going to be as star-studded as Georgia fans would like. So just a breakdown. But Georgia's got to get together. I got to find some top guys. You can't just sit the class out, right? Eventually, they'll find some guys. And there are a couple defensive backs and corners and safeties that I think they're trending in the right direction for. But it doesn't look like any of the top guys right now are trending Georgia's way. Thanks for watching this video. Get your Bulldog today. Again, it's Father's Day is next Sunday. Get your Bulldog, promo code DOGPOST to get the discount. I'll see you on the website.